Retard! Retard! Ladies and gentlemen, G's and P's, squares, and those who dare, welcome back to the show. We ready to go. How you doing? My name is Tiger. This is Tiger Thinks. Today is Monday, March 30th, in the year 2026, so they say. And today's video is about a very important topic here on the internet. It goes around, it comes around, and it sticks the landing every time. This is a documentary about Nora Vincent. Nora Vincent was an author. She was a journalist. She was very macro, I wouldn't say macro, pivotal. I think her time is still yet to come. She did a lot for intersex dynamics between men and women. Her most probably inspirational work is her going undercover for 18 months and living as a man to see what that would be like. And she shared her journey with the world. It's well documented. And without further delay, we're going to get to we're going to cover the post. But before that, I made an edit for you guys so you can enjoy it. And it greatly summarizes her experience. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but bright. Oh.
So there it is. That scene was from Batman The Dark Knight Rises, and it was very good because Bane is basically telling Batman that there's a tranquility amongst the self. You know, you have the mind, the body, and the spirit, and he's questioning which one is going to break in Batman first. And it's just such a parable to women and their understanding of men, their misunderstanding, their lack of understanding with men. There's some chick out there right now with hairy forearms that thinks she knows what it's like to go out into the middle of the night and wrangle up some cooter scooter. She thinks it's that easy. They don't understand their adversary. And I say the adversary in the Latin sense of the term. An adversary is not an enemy. An adversary is someone that has an opposing position to you. So a lot of women just don't invest. Most women don't invest in understanding the apple tree. They just simply know they like apple pie. And they think that men are just born with such a great inherent, just unescapable advantage that they need competitive edges that will equalize it, which is half true. It's a quarter true at best. Yeah, there's a gap between men and women that technology and innovation will never bridge, because it's not meant to be bridged. It's just divination, it's creationism. And you know, you can do a lot of things in life, and I know I'm monologuing, we're gonna get to the point, but you can do a lot of things in life that, I digress, I'm still gonna do it. You can do a lot of things in life that will push you to discover or understand something else. You know, you could become a biologist and then go into a subsect of that and understand marine biology. You could have a bunch of kids. You could understand electronics. You can do a lot of things, and it'll push you toward creationism, and you'll start to understand these bitches aren't evil. They're possessed by demons. They are the devil has these little holes in a chokehold doing anal. He's butt bumping them. They don't have a chance, and they walk right into his hands. I'm not trying to push y'all into the spirit, into believing in God or whatever, but Earth is chaos incarnate. It is a free roam for those that have demonic energy, and the only way to combat it is to be like Thanos and build a far away from everyone with a bunch of resources that matter. Yeah, so that's what it is. That's what it is. You know, I don't hate women. I guess you have to say that. Yeah, you do, because people's IQ are dropping. So I have to preface what I say with a lot of context and delivery and alliteration and onomatopoeia, so that it's consumable, and is first, before it's consumable, primarily that it's ingestible, it's presentable. And then we can get to the education, because these bitches slow. I'm gonna put it like that. And I would, I'm just to speak on their behalf, I would hate to be one of these chicks today, because these men are no better. I'm not doing that to, split a fence, to be down the middle. No, I like, most men repulse me in the utmost fashion. They absolutely do. Like, if I was a chick today and someone said, hey, do you want to date or do you want to become a nun? I would just become a nun. Nuns can just talk to God and hump a broomstick and ask to be forgiven. They let dog. There's a rapper out here, I think his name is Hayden. He said, if she fucks a loser, that's 10 bodies. So basically, every shorty out here, her body count is astronomical. It's innumerable. It's probably like 600-700. If you just count losers, if losers count as 10, and don't let it be a big black loser. Don't let it be a Neanderthal white guy. Don't let it be a Genghis Khan Mongoloid. With that type of aggression, dude, that kill people with sticks and rocks and archery off of horses and cattle, dromedary. No. Not all bodies count the same, fellas. I think y'all need to know that. I would rather a chick mess with a Chinese midget than one of me. I count as at least 10 bodies. No, already 5. I'm too athletic. I can't mess with chicks a little shorter than 5'6". They might as well have osteoporosis. I'm gonna break them. No, all bodies don't count the same, fellas. But let's get into this content. I'm gonna resize it. I'm gonna turn the background music down a little bit. We're gonna get into it. Let me check on the chat. Oh, and by the way, if you would, now that I've completely stopped lying about how long I'm gonna take to get into the content, now that I've done that, because you guys do us all a favor, do yourself a favor, do me a favor. Get some likes up, man. We need at least 10 likes on these videos. I got the same fuel, y'all, loyal few. Yo. You got the gift of loyalty, now spread it. Some of y'all like all of my stuff, and it's the same of people. I need more of you to like it. And if you dislike it, comment why you dislike it, so I can not read it and make you feel important. Anyway, without further delay, let's get to the hey. This is Nora Vincent. Shout out to, I believe this channel is the Anti-Feminist. Mind you, chat, this was made in 2006.
She's hardly a supermodel or movie star, but today, Nora...
Damn. Shorty called a straight. She called a straight out the gate. God damn.
Vincent is getting the full-blown glamour treatment. Nora's a writer, and one of these shots will adorn the cover of her new book.
This wasn't just a stunt. This was about learning. This is a human project. It was about finding something out about the human creature, and I learned it the best possible way because I went through it.
What Nora went through, or more accurately, what she became in the last 2 years, was a man.
Yeah, a little bit shorter on the top.
Okay.
No, Nora didn't get a sex change operation. She did it the old-fashioned way, with acting and a disguise. At 5'10", 155 pounds, and wearing men's size 11 shoes, Nora...
Yo, so the producer was just like, let's just roast her for the first 10 minutes. Because, god damn, you basically said that's a big-ass bitch. Okay, we get it. We fucking get it. God damn. Y'all couldn't just say that she... that she was blessed with a genetic lottery? Fuck.
Was a natural.
Natural? You sound like you recruiting her to the Pittsburgh Steelers, shorty. Come on.
Growing up in the Midwest with her actress mother,
Come on, little lady.
lawyer father, and 2 older brothers, Nora was a tomboy with a flair for the dramatic. She says she...
Did she dye her hair that dark, or did... White people are such mutants. I'm sorry, because y'all look totally different after puberty. Like a completely different human being. How do you go from blonde to brunette like that?
Still a tomboy, and in fact is a lesbian, living in Midtown Manhattan with her partner Lisa.
I think we can work with this.
Her transformation into the guy she calls Ned begins with a buzz cut, baggy men's clothes, and a too small sports bra to flatten her breasts.
And I
She
believe
even wore a little padding and a
y'all.
jock
I'm
strap.
lying. I know.
I also tried to...
They call it they call it binding. That's what trans people do now. They just call it binding.
Well, what kind of guy is Ned? And
For the rest, she enlisted the help of makeup artist Ryan McWilliams.
She just came to me and said, Ryan, I need to turn into a man.
It's so funny how with queer people, that's what they call themselves, not making fun of them. Like, guys, there's this thing called queer sex, but if you actually understand the LGBTQ community, which I'm not saying you should, but hey, understand that enemy, adversary, or whatever. For one, they got the gayest dude possible to do her makeup, so it's like they do everything but stuff in binary fashion, and not in binary fashion, but just traditional fashion. Here's a 0, here's a 1. Put the 1 inside the 0. They got the gayest girl they could find, the most lesbian, and on the other hand, they got the gayest of gay. He looks like he throws up if he sees a clit. Like, if he sees a labia, he ain't licking shit. He's putting every spoon in the house in the microwave. But they got him to do her makeup, not another girl, which is just pretty funny.
Hair as small as we can make it, right?
And so they came up with a method of shredding braided wool into whisker-sized bits and gluing it onto her face.
Women have much stronger nasal resonance as a
And then
rule.
there's the theatrical component.
So just easy Tarzan out on your chest a little.
She teaching her how to speak Japanese. Japanese people speak from the stomach. They do. Some of y'all think I'm making fun of people, and a lot of times I'm literally saying things exactly how they are, but my face is too hard to read to be talking to the public. I know, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
Good.
Juilliard voice teacher Kate Murray coached Nora for months on a program of movement, breathing, and speaking.
I want you to be the best man you can be.
All to incorporate some of the subtle and not so subtle characteristics of being a guy.
Notice what men do. If they need to suddenly grab a taxi, hey, they just do that. Whereas women will ask for a taxi instead of demand one.
Demand ain't the right word, because it's still a request, because taxis are the #1 people to run off on your ass. And so, I mean, this chick was in the documentary, probably didn't get to see it until after it's produced, but like, yeah, you can't just, as a man, you can't be rude to, especially the wrong people, because the wrong people will just disregard you. It's not a demand, but if you don't show, just confidence, I was trying to look for another word. If you don't exude righteousness when you're doing something, people assume that you're skeptical, especially the more physicality and size you possess as a man. Typically, when people recant stories or recall stories of a heinous crime, and the person didn't have their confidence all the way up, or their righteousness, they're like, yeah, he didn't look me in the eye when he pulled the trigger. So that, as a man, you actually hurt yourself more by being cowardly or dominable.
Pieces are together: hair, makeup, voice, posture, style. The transformation is complete.
Walk like a man, talk like a man, walk like a man.
And
maybe it's just because I'm hyper observant and I've seen this before, but I'm not buying that that's a dude anyway. I suspect a lot of dudes all the time aren't actually dudes, so whatever.
Nora Vincent becomes Ned Vincent.
Walk like a man, fast as I can.
One of these shots will be the second photo on the book cover. The book, Self-Made Man, is out today and is about Nora's 18 months living as Ned.
Nice seacoast.
I wanted to enter male spheres of interest and see how men are with each other.
And you were in New York, Shorty. You should have at least got the suit tailored. New York, wherever the fuck you were. You should have got your suit hemmed and tailored.
To make friends with men. I wanted to know how male friendships work from the inside out.
Ned's first act as a newly minted male was to join that quintessential bastion of camaraderie, a men's bowling team. The only problem was she's a terrible bowler.
I probably bowled before this 3 times in my life, and that was, in high school when you do it with both hands, So it was just insane for me to walk into this place without any.
And why didn't they just run you out of town when they saw how bad you were?
It's an amazing thing, because I think that shows you the generosity that they had.
It was the first of Nora's many surprises. She thought these guys from a working-class Pennsylvania neighborhood would mock Ned's bowling and reject him as a guy. But from their first meeting, they accepted Ned.
The handshake was unbelievable. It blew me away the first time I shook hands with a guy, a strange guy. And I was amazed, because you think of women, we're so nice, we're so easy, men are so mean. complete opposite. Hey, baby. And I felt as comfortable as I could feel right away.
Look at that sexual tension. He clocked her long ago.
Just took me in, no questions asked.
This is the first time the guys are coming
Yes, brother, come on, you can do it. Hit the reset button. Bring her back. Bring her back.
face to
Guys, these are real people in real people's lives. And there's some sadness in this that maybe you guys don't know about that I will open up about later, and you'll see in the closing of this video. But you know, a lot of times to process the pain, you need humor and delivery for that.
face with the female version of
Because he was straight squeezing yitties. He was squeezing the back, pressing them into himself. Good job, brother. It was mutual. It was consensual.
Ned.
Would you have known me on the street? No. No?
No, that's his lion voice. Almost grabbing a booty cheek. Look at that. Look at that. We're observing over here. If you on Tiger Things, you paying attention. Yeah. Caught you in 720p, brother. Go on ahead with yourself.
Good. Taller than I remember.
Get the fuck off me. That's how she looked. Okay, get the fuck off me. The camera's rolling.
I know, you're shorter. What happened?
Everybody the same size and the land on the back.
So they've known about Nora's true identity for months.
How are you? Congratulations.
This reunion is their first chance to talk about their friendship.
But you guys had said that wasn't there that game that, you know, the person who didn't make it to 100 had to wear women's panties at the end of the season? And I thought, you know, I'm going to give you guys the shock of your life. And I'm going to wear...
The team had bowled together for 9 months, and gradually Nora gained entrance into the inner sanctum. She found that all the cussing and good-natured ribbing is just how men often show affection for each other.
You know what's funny is that she also cosplayed as a man for 18 months, and in this entire sequence, she does not get one strike.
Way to go, Ned.
Oh, yeah.
Women in men's fields.
Oh, my God, that's right. I forgot all about that.
Did you know, based on watching her bowl? I mean, you know, the joke was she bowled like a girl. But
Well, we had our suspicions that these guys did. Maybe Ned was gay.
Everybody else.
Really?
Yeah.
Everybody has their own style.
Yeah, Ned's a bottom. Chat, I'm gonna go get my monster, and I'll be right back. Enjoy yourselves. I'll be back in less than a minute. All right, we're going back to the promised land. Buckle up. Come with me.
Right,
But my style was...
her style was this.
Yeah.
A little different style.
Near the end of the team's run, Nora decided to reveal herself as a woman. Nervous about how they'd react, she tested the waters with the one guy she was closest to. She took Jim out for a drink.
So she sits you down, she's very serious, and she says, I'm going to tell you something that's going to blow your mind. And what did you say?
So the only thing that would blow my mind is if you told me that you were a girl and that she was a guy. And she goes, well, you're half right.
The she Jim's talking about is Nora's partner Lisa, who the team had met several times. Jim assumed they were Ned and Lisa, a heterosexual couple.
But you didn't believe her at first.
At first, well, I was still in shock. I said, how can this possibly, you know, where would this come from? This is...
So he's also basically saying that her lady friend, her female companion, is also pretty masculine, which opens up the conversation for sexual polarity, because like attracts like, and also opposite, in the sense of when dating, women will always eventually seek out masculinity. And what that means is, like, if you take a bunch of liberal, left-leaning, progressive women, eventually they're always gonna date the most masculine version of a man they can get in some way or fashion. So there's a book called The Way of the Superior Man. In that book, they discussed that even in homosexual relationships, there's sexual polarity. You rarely see long-lasting relationships where both people have the same spiritual alignment as far as masculine and feminine dynamics. Everybody's a little feminine and everybody's a little masculine, and then when it breaks down is that some people are hyper on one side and superlative in the other. So like myself, I'd be considered masculine, but you know, there's feminine things you do. Like you some things are feminine in nature, and that's why when you learn languages, the noun or the verb will be in the feminine. Like sleeping is feminine. Now, I'm not too masculine to the point where I'm not gonna fucking sleep, but there's also like walking in a lot of languages is a masculine verb. All countries have a feminine name. The homeland, the motherland, Mother Earth, etc., etc.
Just a regular Monday night. I was out bowling having a good time a few minutes ago. Now I'm trapped in this bizarre conversation about your name isn't Ned anymore, you know?
Yeah, he was definitely struggling with gay thoughts. He probably thought it was, I bet Punk'd, MTV's Punk'd, the show where they would prank people, I bet Punk'd was on the air back at this time, so he didn't know what to think. He probably still thinks he's on an episode of Punk'd. Because his body language throughout this entire scene is different from everybody else's, and everybody's kind of like facing away from him in a bit too.
Later, Jim told the rest of the team, who all took it well.
What do you think Nora expected to find in a bowling alley full of guys?
I think you expected to find like a bunch of guys just talking about women's private parts and a bunch of racists.
That is exactly what my friends are, so I don't know about these guys. And now they don't seem trustworthy because they aren't racist and perverts.
You know, I think kind of that's what she came into this thinking.
They really showed me up as being the one who was really judgmental, because they were the ones who took me in, not knowing anything about me. They were the ones who made me their friend, and, you know, no judgments attached.
That's not like it. What's wrong?
Nora and Jim became closer friends once he knew that he was a she. Now Jim was willing to speak more personally and openly, like about his wife's cancer. Nora came to see...
Damn. Homie has been through a lot of sadness. Shit, my blessings to you, home. Hey, if y'all pray for everybody involved in this, because this is actually a very heartbreaking documentary.
Between men, intimacy is sadly lacking.
There's a tremendous potential for tenderness between men, and I'm not sure that it's always realized, and it's terribly sad.
Cracking the mystery of a boys' night out is
that was a great articulation, because that is true. I even feel that amongst my friends.
But what about the explicit world of a man's sexuality?
I really ran smack up against the difference between male and female sexuality, is that female sexuality is mental. It's up here.
Which is an understatement. She's right, but it's not a full devolution of what it is, but it's more psychological than physical. Sex between men and women, well, sex for men is impersonal, and it's mostly impersonal unless you're in a committed relationship, whereas sex with women is less impersonal, and their goal and objective is to make it more personal. And because sex also is painful for women, but people forget that we live in a sexually degenerate, promiscuous society. So women forget that, you're not meant to be sport fucking. Like, women aren't meant to be having sex every day. Like, all the signs point to Lauderdale, and they still try to do it. But also, women don't even enjoy sex close to the same degree as men until their mid-30s. And that's a scientific fact that people know it. And people as a society, we have to evolve and have these open base level communications where sex ed needs to rise. It's at least the understanding of the different genders and of how we interact with the world, each other, and ourselves. Women's sexual window is like 33 at the earliest to like 50, from where it's actually more about the orgasm itself. Whereas that's men's entire run with the shit.
And
the refractory periods between us are greater also. Like, we have to take drugs and practice sexual discipline and do a bunch of things to be able to go at sex back to back to back to back. And once women get in the groove of actually having sex, they can do that in seconds.
male sexuality is a bodily function. It's a necessity. You just have to do it.
When we come back, Nora goes to strip clubs in the company of men as a man. Over the 18 months of venturing out in the world as a man, Nora Vincent guesses she put on Ned's whiskers and clothes about 150 times. After the bowling league, she was ready for love and sex.
You went to a couple of sex clubs. What were you trying to get at?
Well, at first I thought, This is sort of the quintessential guy thing to do, right? The bachelor party at the strip club. When I told people initially that I was doing this, they'd say, oh, you got to go to a strip club.
She says the clubs were obviously sexual, but once again lacking in intimacy, which leaves men emotionally frustrated.
I saw the men there. I saw the looks on their faces. I saw them sitting alone, nursing their bourbon. And this is not about appreciation of women, of course. It's not about appreciation of their own sexuality. It's about an urge. And that's not always that pleasurable, really.
These guys who go to these high-priced clubs would say, this isn't about pain, it's about pleasure.
Men have had the tears and the emotional expression sort of pounded out of them from an early age, and so by the time they're men, they don't even have the vocabulary anymore or the emotional awareness to really say what they're feeling.
Really, it's the domestication. I want to correct a lot of things that people say or help us all understand them in better terms. Oh shit, I don't want to pause on that scene.
Nora says strip joints are about pure sex drive, completely empty of any meaningful interaction, even when a woman is gyrating on your lap.
But
that's
you're
blurred. They're not naked. Anyway, society, especially this is more about parents, spends the first basically 10 to 15 years of a man's life domesticating him because we're so capable of so much violence and destruction, and that our way of emoting is different than women's, and it's not incorrect, but it's mainly pushed that men are defunct, as Rollo Tomasi would say, defunct women. Like we are basically women that don't operate correctly is how people see us, and it's not that at all. But that's the standard and the mode that most people are judging men off of. And it's always to big up women, but it's a farce. And clearly to me, it just looks like a trick from the devil. It's like everybody's falling for it. Yeah, men suck, women good, men bad, women good, over and over and over again in the TV shows, even the great TV shows like Family Guy. It just keeps going over and over and over again. It's like the underrepresentation, the misnomers, the misclassifications, the victimization, the damaging. And it's like, we're not monolithic in the sense of character and nobility, but that's how we are always depicted, and we're depicted as wrong. Men, you have to domesticate men as well. Like you can't just free range let men. Society can't free range let men beat the rocks into spears. Like we have to also make hammers and make other tools. And it's not like some people are just born with this prerequisite for violence, but the capacity for it exhibits way differently. I'll say this too. If you work out a lot as a man, women, and you have nice arms, women are going to inappropriately touch your arms all the time, which is basically sexual harassment. Now, if you're a girl and you have a very voluptuous body, some men are going to inappropriately touch you in life. Now, clearly, they're both wrong, but one of them has way worse feelings and side effects on your psyche than the other one. One of them is morally and ethically and legally way more devastating. Now, the capacity and the volume of what happens, women touching men's arms is actually more common than men grabbing women's butts inappropriately. However, the amount of men that happens to is super small. It's like maybe 1% of men. Now, and that's out of 1% of fit men. So fit men are what, 14% of the American population. So then you have that, and then on the counter, how many voluptuous women are there? Well, that's maybe like 20% of them. And how many of them have been inappropriately touched by a stranger? People will probably say there's somewhere around 100%, and I would be willing to bet on that too. But you see the disparity. It's the frequency of when it's happening is happening to 1% of men, but it's happening to those 1% of men like 80% of the time. Where 20% of women probably get that treatment more or less, and they probably get it sporadically, but the impact goes down to the children. And then if that woman has children, then she's got trauma that she's passed down to them, and then it creates a cycle. But I'm not gonna cry and run away from home and do drugs because I had a flashback of when a chick grabbed my bicep in the store when she was trying to ask me to grab something, and she really just wanted to fill me up. But I could imagine that if I was a woman and some weirdo grabbed me and I had a flashback about it, I might go on a bender and not come home for a couple of days.
To women, were you ever aroused during any of these?
I really ran smack up against the difference between male and female sexuality. Is that female sexuality is mental. It's up here.
Whereas for men, Nora says, sexuality is, shall we say, below the waist.
At its core, it's a bodily function. It's a necessity. It is such a powerful drive, and I think because we don't have testosterone in our systems, we don't understand how hard it is. So it never...
Yeah, I don't really need to nitpick. What she's talking about is that men have 17 times more testosterone than women. And testosterone is one of the main indicators of where your libido is going to stand. It's not the only thing, but it's the main drive for it. And if women, when women like go steroids or take testosterone to start bodybuilding, they get incredibly horny, and it's well documented. So again, the amount of self-control that men have, that has to be instilled in men, is higher because the consequences are greater.
It's cold. Where are you back in Australia?
Throughout the project, Ned dabbled in the art of picking up a woman.
Where'd your friend go?
We went with him to this bar where...
Damn,
we don't
that was
understand
bad
how
game.
hard it is. So it never gets cold. Where are you back in Australia?
Throughout the project, Ned dabbled in the art of picking up a woman.
Where'd your friend go?
We went with him to this bar wearing hidden cameras.
It shows you how predatory women are. Because when women have to dress as men or act like men, they just ask very FBI questions. Like when you're talking to women out on the street in clubs, they're not even asking questions to get to know you. They're never asking you, what are your thoughts on the death penalty? They go straight to, what do you do? And I'm like, look, if I met you through your father or your brother or something like some traditional means, then I would acquiesce somewhat to the courtship, to the horse and monkey show. But if I meet you in a horse paradise, like a bar or a club or a dating app, I'm not doing this on your terms. But women, they straight up just go into like status questions, or basically questions that determine how much respect they have to give you. And then if you push back on it or you don't answer in their foliage, they get confused or aggressive or cantankerous or lost. Where'd your friend go? Basically, how alone are you? Creepy ass question, bro.
My friend JC, I'm Ned.
Nora was reminded that in this arena, it's women who have all the power.
We sit there and we just with one word, no, will crush someone. And the thing is, we don't have to do the part where you cross the room and you go up to a stranger and say the first words. And those first words are so hard to say without sounding like a cheese ball or sounding like a jerk or whatever else. And what do you guys...
And the solution to that, guys, is talk. This might be a cheap solution, but it's really talk to a bunch of women and collect data and be as amoral. Not that amoral means there's morality isn't in it. Immoral means it's evil, but be amoral and objective. So take in talking to women and talk to a bunch of women, because it's an obvious thing that talking to women is actually easy if you don't overcomplicate it, to the sense of look at all the podcasts like Fresh and Fit, whatever. They have on a panel full of girls, and as long as there's some decorum, it's very easy to follow what the women are saying, because women all basically do the same things when they're talking. And I'm speaking from my own personal experience and saying that this can extend to you. I'm not selling you a course on how to do it, but I'm just telling you it's doable. Like I go to Broadway, and Broadway is a major bar strip in Nashville, Tennessee. I walk down Broadway all the time, and I'm the king of getting threesomes. If I notice two girls that are checking me out and there's sexual tension, because a lot of times when girls go out with their girlfriends, they really bitches and hate each other. And two women will often flirt with me at the same time, trying to make me pick one. And I'd rather go for both of them than go for one. So I try it. It is not hard because women's responses are all predictable. And when they think that they're being funny or clever, it's just antagonism. So if you already know, you pretty much know what women are going to say once you talk to a bunch of women, because their reactions to things never span more than like 6 or 7 directions. There's not that much variety in what they're going to say.
Nora says the brush-off Barbara Jones gave Ned was typical.
She was just sort of emblazoned with hostility. You know, just looked at you and you saw everything cross her face, which was, oh, God, help me, not again. I'm trying to have a drink with a friend and I've got to deal with you.
Barbara was trying to dispose of Ned before her friend returned from the bathroom.
Anyway, we haven't seen each other in a while, so just let you know.
Yeah.
I've got to head out to mom.
But Ned returned and told Barbara the truth about her gender.
You're saying you gave us all the lines, like, try to get rid of us. I see, and as a woman, I have such sympathy. I'm like, oh, I hate being this guy that you're trying to get rid of. You know?
Talking to a woman, Barbara seemed more open and friendly, and in the end, actually apologized for how she had treated Ned.
So sorry for being bitchy.
Please.
Does that kind of living in the skin of a man in the bar scene, in the dating scene, give you a different kind of respect for men?
It gives me a certain definite sympathy. And I don't mean that there's any disrespect, but it just makes me understand what's going on.
Nora, as Ned, also went on about 30 dates with women, mostly arranging them on the internet.
Did you have any fun?
Rarely.
It was just an
pretty
ordeal.
Unpleasant. Yeah.
She says the pressure of Ned having to prove himself was grueling. Nora was surprised that many women had no interest in a soft, vulnerable man.
My prejudice was that the ideal man is a woman in a man's body. And I learned, no, that's really not. There are a lot of women out there who really want a manly man.
Ultimately, Ned told
Which basically tells you guys that it's a safer option to start off on the polar end of the spectrum and move inward than it is to start in the middle of the spectrum or the other polar end and then move the other way.
most of his dates that he was Nora. Many of the women reacted angrily, but usually just for a little while.
I never smell. I buy flowers all the time, and I never smell. That's actually the thing. A good difference between men and women. I just noticed that. I've seen this probably 10 times. I never. When I buy girls flowers, I never be like, shh. They don't care.
Some women,
if you live in a city, you definitely don't care about how the flowers smell. Everything smells like shit anyway.
Wanted to continue the relationship.
They remained interested in pursuing something further. You know, so whereas
sexually,
yeah, and that was heterosexual women who. That's what I'm saying. It's
straight women don't exist. They're all heteroflexible at best.
All up here because they said, well, we connected. And
if you talk to a bunch of girls and you really get to know them on a personal level, if you talk to 100 women and got to know them intimately, you in America at least, and they grew up in America, 90% of them have had some sort of kiss or touch with women. If I'm talking about grown-up women, like 25 or older, 90% of them. And if you ask them why, they're like, oh, it was just a pop kiss, or we were doing this or that. And they somehow justify the action. And it's like, I've never just like randomly or found a reason to kiss one of my guy friends. We don't do it. Women are heteroflexible.
You know, there's something I really like you and I don't care. How many guys would do that? That's the difference between male and female sexuality right there.
Well, today's men would still probably do it, but back then, not many.
Nora says she found differences not only in sexuality and intimacy, but in every walk of life.
I'm in the market for a car. And
take, for example, shopping for a new car. Going in as Nora, the sales pitch quickly becomes flirtatious.
Any guy that gets in is going to feel like, okay, this girl's...
I want to date this girl just for a car.
Well, I didn't say that.
But going back to the same salesman as Ned, the tone was all business, and the talk was all about performance.
They have the 3-liter Duratec V6 engine.
And in the end, a personal touch for Nora the salesman would never have offered Ned.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
She probably had a crumb on her face and
in
he was
Nora's
hungry.
final months as Ned, she upped the ante, infiltrating all male inner sanctums. But after 18 months of deception, she was unraveling, and the play acting at a men's wilderness encounter group would begin to scare her.
One guy had chopped up a log pretending it was his wife. So I thought, great, you know, we're gonna have axes and knives.
Guys, also, let me give you some advice. If you're ever around a very attractive woman that you don't want to have your sexual urges display on her, it's not a bad idea to wank off to her pictures in private and never tell anybody. Get it out of your system. Now, I've done it. It works. You don't have to do it. I'm just giving some advice.
So I was terrified.
Having survived strip clubs, dating, and a bowling league, Nora Vincent wanted Ned's last days to be among men only, in private and intimate surroundings. Nora, a lapsed Catholic, thought the cloistered inner world of a monastery would be ideal. Ned managed to live for 3 weeks as a trainee. The monks, she says, were pious, smart men, but they were still men.
What made it prototypical?
I gotta look up what pious means. I always forget what that word means.
The breakdown in communication, the need, the desperate need for male intimacy and the lack of ability to give it, really painful.
Nora says the monks were hostile to her feminine side. She says she was ostracized because of the monks' assumptions about her sexual orientation.
Ned was really at the center of it because he was an effeminate man, and many of them thought I was gay. As one of them told me in confession, I said, I have something to confess to you. And he said, well, I think I know what it is. And I said, what? And he said, well, you're gay. And I said, well, yeah, but not in the way you think.
Loneliness
I keep getting definitions for what a shot. Look at that sculpture. That really fits in this. I must have spelled pious wrong because I keep just getting fucking definitions about skiing, and it's clearly not what they're talking about. Let's get back into it, chat.
Nora thought the perfect end to her 18-month saga was to join a men-only therapy group, a place where guys tried to bond and show their emotions instead of hiding them.
What's up, everybody? I see a few of you have joined in the chat. We got some new viewers here. Please do yourself and do me a favor. Like the stream. This lady went undercover and lived as a man about 20 years ago. So this wasn't made recently. And her discovery of being a man was shocking. So that's what we're going over today, just to fill y'all in.
They don't get to show the weakness. They don't get to show the affection, especially with each other. And so often all of their emotions are shown in rage.
And they kept talking about their rage, often their rage toward women and what they would do physically and violently towards women.
Right. A lot of this was blowing off steam. It's sort of talking about the things that need to be said that you know you would never do. I mean, you know, they would talk about fantasizing about chopping up their wives or something. It's not that they would ever do that, but it was a way to get out the blackest thoughts.
He doesn't like doing that work.
I do that all the time.
Quit.
Nora began to empathize with the fear and stress men feel for having to always be the strong provider. The therapy leader, psychologist John Gornishelli, saw Ned's shyness as typical of a newbie coming to brave the group.
A lot of the guys spoke to me after the retreat and said, talking to him, I felt like I was talking to somebody.
1 second, chat. We got a little background noise sound. If that was playing the whole time, I got to redo this entire thing. Was that double chat? Was that double playing the whole time? Now I got to check.
Talking to him, I felt like I was talking to somebody. 1 second, chat. We got a background noise. Okay, we're good. Feminine.
Once again, some group members thought Ned was gay, but no one suspected he was a woman. After 8 sessions, the group went on a backcountry retreat, but Nora's 18 months of being an imposter was closing in on her.
The pressure of being someone that you're not and being the fear of discovery and the deceit that it involves piles up and piles up. So by the time I got around to doing this men's group, it was really reaching critical mass.
On the retreat, her fear became palpable.
And I was out in the woods with a bunch of guys who have rage issues about women, and I was in drag. And I thought, oh, God, you know, what am I doing?
Nora was unraveling. She felt guilty about lying, as though she should be punished. In the final ritual of the weekend, the men were to act out the problems unearthed at the retreat with a partner.
And you asked that he harm you.
Yeah, I did. At that point, I was starting to really kind of crack up. I was really...
You were coming unglued.
Yeah.
So you were asking this guy to cut you?
To cut me. So self-mutilation is very much a female thing, and I think it was...
Yeah, women get a crazy oxytocin release from pain, and it's a part of their biological wiring in order to actually have sex. Because sex for women is actually painful if you really think about it, like the stretching of skin, the being thrusted into. The body has a lot of mechanics, and vasopressin is released. So the body has a lot of mechanics that make it pleasurable for women. That's why they have clits. The entire existence for them is cyclable, and it just repeats. That's why if you date a girl that's like chronically single, like if you're dating a woman that's over 30 and she's been single the whole time, she has her spots, and you have to break out of her sequence because she's going to keep inviting you to do things that she's done with other guys that she's disposed of. Like she has her go-to bar, and she goes to that bar all the time. She has her go-to coffee shop, this, that, and the other. She's going to keep repeating the cycle, and she invites you to it, and she truly wants you to do it, but it's up to you to break it, because they're so lizard brain, like they'll do things methodically because they're not geared toward problem solving. The female psyche is just geared toward just communicating about the issue, and that's why women don't resolve much. They're really good at just like, I mean, there's a saying, the two things that women are better at than men is lying and crying, and the third thing would be lying and crying at the same time. But it really goes to show that they don't have the part of the brain that makes them that no, they don't have. It's just not, it's not firing. It doesn't fire well. It's not, they're not built for problem solving. So they'll do things in a way that's habitual and draining. Like I know a bunch of women that have very cozy, safe office jobs. And my psyche behind that, my thought process behind that, my ideology is that after a certain point working in an office job, it should be non-fatiguing. It is, if you're not talking to people the entire day and doing something very difficult like that could be emotionally draining. But it's only like maybe you take 30 phone calls a day at most. That's not that many. I mean, it's a lot, but it's not that many. You shouldn't be drained. But women don't go into the workforce and then optimize the thing. They just bitch and complain and want someone else to optimize for them. And that's not woman hatred. That's just how they operate.
My way of paying the penalty for what I felt I had done.
Nora was not harmed physically, but she continued.
Yeah, women never just want to give you money for being a headache. You want me to cut you, so you want me to catch a charge for something you did. No, just give me $1. Make me feel better. Give me some Bitcoin. If women learn how to accurately apologize, the world would be a better place.
Continued her emotional descent.
This woman did everything but get back in the kitchen. God damn, you couldn't make a man a sandwich? You wanted him to cut you? Like, yeah, women are special creatures, guys.
And a week later checked into a hospital with severe depression. Identity, she concluded, was not something to play around with.
When you mess around with that, you really mess around with something that you need that helps you to function. And I found out that gender lives in your brain, and it's something much more than costume.
Well, I want to push her thoughts on that now, and this is in retrospect. So she basically got a case of the blues from her reality being shattered. And that's very common in a lot of situations in life, like when people leave cults or they change religions. If you do things where your identity goes from one thing to another and you don't have an immediate landing, especially for women, it causes this darkness. And that's why women hate red pill shit. If you actually manage to red pill women on an issue, say something that people thought wasn't true, and then the conspiracy theorists were actually right in the end, women don't go, oh, thank you for exposing me to the information. They do a little bit, but they more so are like, what now? Why would you show me that? They think that you want them to be depressed because that's their default. This is how their brains are wired and how many neuron receptors for negative emotion they have, which is like 4 times as much as men do, and the frequency of engagement. The way that women use their brains is they use more regions of their brains at the same time for smaller tasks. I say it like the kitchen light metaphor. Say you're in your house and you need to get something out of the kitchen in the refrigerator. You would go in the kitchen, turn the light on, open the refrigerator door would open, turn the refrigerator light on, and then you'd go back in your room. Well, the way that's the male brain. The way that the female brain works is they'll turn on the closet light, the bathroom light, the hallway light, the living room light, the porch light, the back porch light, the garage light, and every light in the house just to get something out of the fridge. And it's not because they're scared. That's their version of efficiency. So women end up getting prone. That's their mental version of efficiency. So women end up getting prone to this blueness especially when they get shocked or scared about something. So honestly, she could have probably got fixed by some really good dick. That's not a joke. I really kind of mean that. Maybe if she had met a man that went through a lot of the challenges she did, she would have felt better. And I really want to do this. I really want to get a very white man and get a professional to do blackface on him and have him live as a black person for like 2 months to really see the differences of how he's treated.
And I really learned that the hard way.
Nora says she's healed now and glad to be rid of Ned, but her views about men have changed forever.
Men are suffering. They have different problems than women have, but they don't have it better. They need our sympathy, they need our love, and they need each other more than anything else. They need to be together.
Do you think women understand what it's like to be a man?
Not at all. No clue.
Nor do they care.
No idea.
John Guarnaschelli thinks Nora's conclusions that men are just as emotionally vulnerable as women are important and will be taken seriously because they came from a woman.
I said to her, this is going to be revolutionary because it's been looked at as though men were the perpetrators and women were the victims. This is not
and now, one last identity switch. Guarnaschelli has never come face to face with the real Nora.
Hi, John. I'm Nora.
Hi.
Wow.
The voice cracked when he said hi.
And both John and Nora are happy she is a she. The irony is not lost on Nora that it took a trip into manhood to help her appreciate her own femininity.
I'm so much closer to myself than I ever was, that I really like me.
She really should have done this interview in a skirt or a bikini.
I really like being me, and I really like being a woman.
Did you like being a woman?
Because the contrast of dressing up in a suit to represent masculinity, the direct contrast, like that is classy feminism.
I did,
femininity,
but I like it more now.
And the long, shallow dress that doesn't show too much. But she should have accentuated a little bit more. Maybe some like bright lipstick or some hyper. You have what's called dimorphism, right, guys? Which is a hyper representation of a sexual expectation. So like male lions have the mane. You know, absolutely it's a male lion. Of course, you know I'm going to say peacocks. You can tell a male peacock by his feathers. And she didn't hit the dimorphism that well in representing her femininity.
I think it's more of a privilege.
That's perfect right there. That's awesome.
Like they got a makeup artist to make her look like a dude. They should have got like a football coach to make her look like a chick.
Like that? Nice.
Men are suffering. They have different problems than women have, but they don't have it better. They need our sympathy. They need our love.
Okay, it repeats right here, but what I'm going to do, actually, I tried to do some research for you guys. Not tried. You either do or don't. I did some research for you guys, and I was trying to find her Facebook, or I attempted to find her Facebook and did not. However, I did find a Facebook post of it, and I want to read it to you guys. So, Nora Vincent spent a year living as a man to see life from their perspective. She found men face silent struggles, emotional isolation, and social pressure. After her experiment, she experienced severe depression, eventually chose a medically assisted deletion in Switzerland. Her last words: men are suffering. They need our help. They need our love. They need each other more than anything else. So the chick in the video that's not in the circle, I think that's her ex or a journalist. I forget. And this in the other caption, the sub caption says, "Woman lived as a man for a year to see what it was like, faces depression faces depression and passes away." The top one, here's some of the top comments. Some of these are really funny, guys, so we're gonna end on some positivity. She went undercover for a year and came back like, nah, y'all fighting demons out here. It took years of building emotional calluses. It takes years of building emotional calluses. You can't just jump in without even completing the tutorial. She may have lived as a man, but she experienced it as a woman. It makes a huge difference. A year, shit, I'm 35 and I've died like 4 times. Men and women release completely different hormones when under stress. Men take action, women think. If you think but never take action, the problem doesn't get solved. If you act without thinking, the problem becomes larger. We need each other. See, that's a little disingenuous because like a lot of men can do both. Bane said it best, and that's why I clipped it. I thought of this too. It said, "Oh, you think darkness is your ally, but you merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded in it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then, it was nothing but blinding." All right, next comment. Just because we don't show emotion doesn't mean we have emotion. Just because we don't emote the same is what the... And then there's this meme, one of us. Yo, I think I'm actually going to see if I can find that clips. I like finding clips and bringing an expression like that, because whenever I have a chat and you guys aren't hyper engaging and saying a bunch, I'm better under the pressure of a bunch of people. So I'm going to find the one of us meme. Let me see. There's a bunch of one of us memes. There's the Lion King one, and then there's the one from the Wolf on Wall Street. Here, we're gonna get the Wolf of Wall Street one first.
One of us, okay? That's one of us. Gobble, gobble, one of us. We accept that one of us. Gobble, gobble, one of us. We accept that one of us. Gobble, gobble. Jordan!
They all had very good acting in that scene. They really did. And not in the scene, in that movie. Let me get the other clip. Actually, nah, because I don't want to get hit with too many copyright strikes. I'm gonna put that clip. If you're new, if you got here, I see a bunch of y'all just joined in on the screen, the stream. Watch on the playback, and I'm gonna end on this clip. My name is Tiger. It has been a great episode of Tiger Thinks. I appreciate each and every one of you. so long. Au revoir. Farewell. I'll stream again tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be back at 6:30 p.m. It's going to be a longer one. It's going to be a Sadia Khan and Dr. Orion Taraban response video. Well, more like a breakdown, because I noticed a lot throughout the interview, and it basically confirms a lot of my biases on reality. So let's get back into the reaction I clipped for you guys, and then we're going to do the outro. You can watch us on the playback, and we'll see each other soon. Peace.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blight. Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blight.